What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the certifiably suave Dr. Disaster. And do you know what's worse than someone giving out really terrible advice? When the person receiving that advice buys into it hook, line, and sinker and refuses to change their ways even in the face of irrefutable evidence that it is hurting them.
I'm kicking my ass! Do you mind?
It's bad enough that we've seen Western studios like Halo bend the knee to Pride Month with this post here, or look at this character skin for Destiny 2 from Bungie. That may be the ugliest and cringiest looking design of all time, or look at Gearbox here, changing their profile pic so that it features a gay progress flag. All of that is bad enough, but those are Western companies, and they are generally overly plugged in to progressive culture, so far removed from reality that it isn't funny, and by now, we know what sort of shit to expect from them.
Gay, 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 gay.
But there's no good excuse for a Japanese company to be following suit and doing the same thing as these rejects from the West. But it looks like Square Enix is now jumping on the Pride Month train as well. Look at their profile pic on X right now. That is a blatant ripoff of Snivy right there, all polluted with ugly-ass pride colors. On the one hand, I'm half surprised that Nintendo, as litigious as they are, aren't suing Square for copying their Pokemon. But on the other hand, they likely see this ugly rendition of Snivy and don't want to be associated with it at all. Everyone who looks at it has to be thinking,
My God, the boy's deformed.
This can only be explained, though, by bad advice. You may remember that Square Enix employs an ethics department, which is certainly made up of purple-haired screeching harpies, HR lady sewer creatures, and the little white knight male feminists.
Well, what is with this milady stuff? What are you, a knight of the round table? Come on.
Anyhow, it isn't hard to see that Square Enix is taking their cues from people like this, and for whatever reason, they refuse to acknowledge that it is bad advice that they've gotten. Because of bad advisors who are too plugged in to Western progressive culture, Square Enix posted this on X, and immediately gamers know how to respond whenever we see a company pander to the modern audience like this.
Suit yourself, queer.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to follow me over on Rumble, where I've started uploading some content as well. Also, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a member. I'm working on a Space Pirate cartoon which channel members will have first access to. We can't just complain about the state of our culture, we have to create alternatives. So, if you want to support that sort of thing, consider a channel membership for as little as $5 per month. But let's take a look at this Square Enix Pride Month debacle. First of all, here is what the clueless nincompoops at Square Enix actually posted on X. Square Enix continues celebrating Pride Month this year with a sweepstakes. And then they give you some details on what you can win and a link to all the details, but this is a company that is comfortable alienating the vast majority of the public in favor of a bunch of weirdos who have infiltrated the HR offices of these corporations. You have to think, though, that if they, as a company, were truly into this Pride Month stuff, if this was truly something that this Japanese company was a big believer in, then they would have announced this sweepstakes right at the beginning of the month for maximum engagement, but they didn't. Instead, this wasn't posted until the back end of the month, which tells us that this came from bad advice from Westerners who want their employers to think that this stuff is actually important here in the West. Spoiler alert, it isn't. Most people do not give a shit about Pride Month other than making sure that they are as far away from the Looney Tunes that celebrate it as possible. The prevailing attitude is generally that we don't give a crap if you're gay or bi or whatever. You do you, but just leave us alone. But no, Square Enix was apparently convinced by someone, and it likely wouldn't take too many guesses for us to figure out who did it. It is almost certainly the Square Enix ethics department. After all, these are the jackasses who convinced Square Enix that one of their most iconic characters, beloved and admired by gamers all over, had to be censored. They convinced Square to restrict Tifa's chest in the Final Fantasy VII Remake because it was necessary. And ask yourself this: who in the hell would possibly object to a beautiful, well-endowed female character being shown on screen? It certainly wouldn't be the straight men who make up the vast majority of the gaming audience, so who is it? And the answer is, it is the blue-haired land whales working in the HR departments who loathe men and can't stand the idea of them looking at someone who is a conventional idea of beauty that does not resemble these HR lady screeching harpies at all. The prudes in the ethics department have been working hard lately. I call them prudes because they are very prudish when it comes to straight male sexuality, but these same people are of course quite alright with any other form of sexuality on the planet. So maybe prude isn't quite the right word, maybe ideologue or something like that would do better, but I digress. The ethics department schmucks have been quite busy with stuff like this. Bravely Default recently had an HD remaster announced for it, and as you can see in this X post here, they are censoring parts of the game because some outfits are not considered appropriate for Western audiences. And if you look at this image here, you can see the images on the right are from the original game, and the images on the left are the newly updated versions. They just have to make sure that anything that might be even remotely akin to the beauty standards desired by straight males, anything like that must be purged. Square Enix simply has no idea who their audience is, it would seem. They have proven this over and over, which is why they've seen such a massive drop-off in sales for their Final Fantasy titles in recent years. People are disconnecting from this company because they have become much more concerned with telling stories with a Western viewpoint in mind rather than focusing on authentic Japanese cultured stories, the sort of stories that we fell in love with that made the company successful in the first place. And they really need to get back to ensuring that they do tell their style of story and stop focusing on whatever the flavor of the month is for these progressive ninnies. People like the CEO of Jagex, which made RuneScape, people like that have come out recently and said that they realize this Pride Month stuff is causing them to lose business and to turn people away. Square Enix needs to realize the same thing. Look at this tweet again. They locked the replies, because of course they did. Here is a rule of thumb for the idiots running the Square Enix social media account. Anytime you think that maybe you should lock the replies for a social media post, that is a surefire sign that the post is not good for your business, and you shouldn't freaking post it. The ethics department losers might grumble at you, but who cares? You pay them. They don't pay you, and if they make too big of a stink, that shit can change really fast as well. They deserve to be fired anyhow. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your mockery of this Pride Month pandering from corporations like Square Enix into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.